that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, narrated by Disney or by Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it. Legends. Today I have for you 2 source books. So again, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter video, but first we have Jedi vs. Sith, The Essential Guide to the Force by Ryder Wynnum. He wrote a lot of children's stuff. So this takes place after Sacrifice and sometime during the last bit of Legacy of the Force. But Tyone is giving a history lesson about the Sith and the Jedi and all that. We get to learn a lot about holocrons, just the history of Star Wars, a lot about Dooku. Not like a lot, but we get some nice little more interesting tidbits where we actually get to hear him speak. The Baron Dosages, which we'll see in Fate of the Jedi that Jason learned from. And, you know, there's a lot of other things in there. It's a lot of stuff like, this is going to be like really useful to you if you haven't really read that much of the EU, though there's a lot of spoilers in here. But most of the stuff in here, like, I know, because I've read all of it, so I know this stuff. There's some interesting things, a little bit of stuff there that you wouldn't know unless you read this book. This does give me the great saving grace with Vergier, where it talks about maybe she was this, and maybe she was that, but at the end of the day, all we know is that she was a big influence on Jason, and no one can dispute that. So, like, this book basically makes it so you can have your cake and eat it too. Whatever you want Vergier to be from New Jedi Order, she can be for you because of this book. So, because even historians don't really know what she was all about. Like, there's conflicting reports, but at the end of the day, all we know is she was a big influence on Jason, and that is true no matter where your opinion of that stuff is. So, and like I said, a lot of little interesting tidbits here and there, but all in all, it's just kind of stuff that if you're a huge Expanded Universe fan who's really dived deep into it, you know all this already. You've read it elsewhere. So none of this is really brand new to me, but you would read it here chronologically because of the placement with Tyone and everything. And it was cool to see like some of Tyone's thoughts in there and stuff. So overall, it was a fun little thing to read that you can check out around this point. And then we have The Essential Guide to Warfare by Jason Fry. We have this interesting little story called Neutron in Flames. I believe my friend, the Revanchist Marcel Ryan, did a reading of this on his channel, which you should go check out. Maybe I'll leave a link in the description if I can remember. And then, of course, in my friend Quinlan Voss's YouTube channel, when he's going through all the books in chronological order, he reviewed this story individually by itself. So it's it's short, but it's a nice little decent thing where we get to learn about what would later become the Mandalorians and some humans on Neutron, and their war with each other. Now, if you want even more about this, read Supernatural Encounters, because this actually dives into this a whole lot more. Just a bit more on the supernatural side of things in terms of what's going on during this conflict, but it does dive a little bit more deeply and gives a little bit more detail into the events of Neutron in Flames. So that's my recommendation there. We get more with Zim the Despot. We also get more of that in Supernatural Encounters, but there's more stuff with Zim the Despot here. Not a lot, but there is some more additional things that you can learn about by reading it. We learn about the whole Leto situation, the Letao thing with the Jedi. We also have Xandor Meeting of the Ones. This I'm pretty sure also happened in Supernatural Encounters, but it's mentioned here in the book. There's a whole bunch of... the Essential Guide to Warfare goes from the Rakatan Empire times all the way to the Legacy comics. But this, the Jedi vs. Sith book mostly dealt with the Force and the light side and the dark side and Jedi fighting techniques and the Sith fighting techniques and their weaponry and this and that. It was only focused on that aspect. The Essential Guide to Warfare is only dealing with the military side of things. So we see a lot of that. We do get a little cameo, this little additional story, because this happens at 5 ABY, which definitely happens after the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy, which I hate, but you do get a little conversation between Boba and the Assembler in this book, so that's cool. We get something with Sindel, which is also pretty neat. Sindel gets a little moment, which is cool. And then we have Tahiri about to be messed with, to be turned into a half Vong thing, you know? So this would be somewhere during the Edge of Victory duology. But Vajir actually talks to her. That was really interesting. It's just a little bit, but it was really cool. There's a lot of nice little interesting things in here. If you're into the guns and the warfare and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. There's also lots of good continuity here. Jason probably did an excellent job connecting everything here. Actually also explain why nobody brings up the Nagai War in the old Marvel comics. That was also a really cool little thing they did in there. But overall, again, these aren't gonna like if you're a big fan of the expanded universe, this isn't gonna like really blow your mind. It's not gonna give you this new information that you've never seen before. It's just like kind of a little bit of additional information, giving you some nice visual art to go along with stuff that you've read in the past or want to read in the future, and so it's just kind of cool. Is it necessary before you read Fate of the Jedi? Absolutely not. It's not necessary for any of the novels, but I reviewed, the Book of Sith and the Jedi Path, and I reviewed the Bounty Hunter's Code and the Imperial Handbook. So I figured, of course, I'm going to review these too, and these are, in-story things as well. So it would be around here. Of course, the Essential Guide to Warfare does dive into the Second Galactic Civil War with Jason, and then slightly talks about the stuff in Fate of Jedi. So if you don't want any of that, you might want to just cut off the last little bit of it. But it honestly doesn't reveal too much about the overall plot. The series does reveal some things in there, but it's the slimmest section of the book, so you can get through most of it being fine, assuming that you've read up to Legacy of the Force. But yeah, just kind of goes over everything. It's a lot of fun though. I enjoyed it. It was fun to read. But next time we will move on with the Paul S. Kemp duology, Cross Current and Reptide. Also, I have a fan fiction for you before that. But I hope you all check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.